In 2025, hundreds of thousands of Nigerian students faced one of the most confusing, demoralizing UTME examinations ever conducted by JAMB. Errors, glitches, zero scores, injustice. We have heard the cries, students, parents, and educators all asking the same thing: how did this happen? Why must they pay for institutional failure?
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Speak Out Africa Initiative podcast. I am your amazing host, Sommidah Simon. And on today's episode, we have a guest in our midst who would be speaking on the 30 Days Activities campaign currently ongoing, and we'll be speaking his own point or his own aspect from the teacher's perspective to hear his views and also what he has to say. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us. As you know, this interview is part of an ongoing effort to understand the real challenges and to find solutions that would improve the system. So, can you just briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little about you?
Okay, thank you for having me here. My name is Monere Christopher. I'm a teacher by profession, and I think since I graduated, that's basically what I've just been doing.
Okay.
I'm having taught in Ogun State and Abuja, and I've also concentrated on SS3 students. So I can say in this particular topic, I have a first-hand knowledge of what students go through. And I think what the major problem we have, and the first thing people get, the first misconception people have is, when these results come out, people are like, students are no longer reading. Students are no longer reading. Students are no longer reading. But who are the students they're talking about? These are the students that we interact on a daily basis. Are you saying that we don't have good teachers or good schools or good institutions? So, but people do not want to. Remember, one of our problems as Nigerians is holding institutions accountable.
Yeah.
They need the institution to be held accountable, and they are shifting the blame on the students. So having taught students over the years, I can tell you that we don't have those students, and the students are actually reading. So there are many reforms that have to go on in JAMB, and I hope that by the course of this podcast, we'll be able to tackle them all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Glad to have you on this episode. So moving on. How would you describe the general sentiment among students and teachers during the last UTME cycle? Was it hopeful? Was it, anxiousness? All those preparations?
Yeah, I would say that there's high aspirations because, teachers have put in the work.
Yeah.
Many schools had extramural classes, weekend classes, morning classes, specifically for this exam. And students too, some of them put in extra effort because we want to go, especially for those that their interest is to go to government schools, especially federal universities. They know what the cutoff mark is. They know how the post-UTME is. And most of them put in hard work to this.
True.
But then, most of them had their hope dashed even before the exam. Take for example, I had a particular nursing student I was taking, and she wanted to study medicine, and I will tell you, she put in hard work. I won't say she's super smart, but I think she's dedicated in her studies. But what happened during her exam was the system kept going off and coming on. So you see, and when JAMB released that result, the father already said, well, whatever it would be, we already give up hope, because without seeing the results, they have already pushed out the statistics, and I think JAMB should also work on that. Maybe the results should come out alongside the statistics, or maybe after. Okay, we have released this result, then this is the statistics, but pushing out the statistics, people are already anxious. What will I score? Students are already anxious. They're already very, very much afraid.
Yeah. So,
and once we have done much work and are telling us that over 70% are below average, I think it's not a nice thing at first to do. Release the result before I start telling us about the statistics. Maybe it's also good. Maybe students will now be okay. Many people failed. You are now hoping for the best and preparing. You are not preparing for the worst.
Oh. So that was actually going to take us to the next question, which was what specific issues did your student face during the last JAMB exam? Because as a teacher, I know that during my own time when I wrote my exams, after my exams, I went back to my teacher to tell him the experiences, and also I know that there are few students who have come to you to tell you, this was the challenge I faced, so can you please share some with us?
I don't know. It starts now when you finish, but I will just pick few.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the JAMB took up to their mistakes. Even me, I saw that there was something wrong with the way the results were announced and with the statistics of the results.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just pick maybe 3 or 4 incidents. I have a particular student. This guy he has been looking for admission for like 2-3 years now. And they now sought for my services to prepare him specifically for this exam. He had a nice outing, but I believed he would have done better. He scored 289, but I believe he would have done better. What happened was that towards the end of his exam, he had challenges in physics, and that was where I came in. And I told him to answer that physics last. Now, towards the end of the exam, maybe like 30 minutes, the system went off. There was power outage. Now, for exam like that, I think there should be an automatic backup generator. Now, before they put that generator on, coming to now set his system was no longer coming up. By the next time he will log in, it was 10 minutes remaining, and he has not even gone halfway to the physics. And that physics now was his lowest score. So should we also place this guy on that statistic? Then I have a particular student, an art student. She wrote at, I will not call the name of the center, at another. They told them to sit straight, don't move. Why? The wires were on the floor. And they told them not to move. Now, the person sitting opposite her just stretched his leg and his system stripped off. Now, in a particular network of wires where everything is like a jamboree on the ground, they could not, before they would not locate which one is her own, because they had to also be careful so that they would not trip
another person beside her.
She was crying. When she came back, she was like, she kept on insulting the person. Till today, she cannot tell me what she's called, and I did not bother asking because of that experience that she had. So we have other experiences. Also, another one that we need to also look into is this 630 thing. People might think it's just trivial, but being a teacher and seeing what redress can do to students, you see there is this adrenaline rush that students have when they are going for an exam. You notice that in the university. Sometimes when educators do last minute reading, and they now postpone, like shift the paper that maybe the lecturer is not around, they're not supposed to do. Everybody will just
relax. True.
That thing they might think is just nothing. But only the smart ones can be able to cope. There are people that have long-term memory. So maybe they have very short-term memory and they need to just pass this exam. The moment you put them under duress, it affects their score.
Sure. So
these are some pertinent issues. I think that JAMB should look into the centers also. You don't give out accreditation to centers. You don't go and know what's happening at these centers. What is their backup system like? What type of system are they using? Student system. In fact, from the first time I started teaching in 2018 when I started serving. Now, the first student I trained for JAMB, this girl have gone for competitions and she won. But I saw 2 of them. But thanks to God, one is in studying medicine in Lorry. The other one is a first class student of computer science at University of Ibadan. We still talk up till now. But their first JAMB, 2 of them they don't get admission in their first JAMB. Not because we know it, but because their system kept on hanging. 2 students, the best 2 students we had back then in Ogun State. So you see, this thing is like sometimes I just be like, I'll tell the students as you are reading, keep on praying because
serious
go to a good center, have a good system. You go to some centers, they are using touchscreen. Do you want to compare that to someone that is using desktop system or maybe a system? They just go and import these things, they don't even do any test and they just flush students into the hall. The later it starts, okay, this one is out of service, one move to this system. So I know
one thing that contributes to this thing is this idea of JAMB becoming a, what they call it?
CBT?
Not a CBT, where the revenue generating agency. Because I feel like they are just after the amount of students that are going to register for those exams, not even thinking of the problems the students are facing?
Well, you know that I wouldn't want to comment on that, because if we want to comment on that, I think we'll be going a bit political. Yes, because check our institutions. So the institutions that are supposed to facilitate trade are revenue generating. I think custom brand with the revenue generating. Are you supposed to be bragging the revenue, or what is the flexibility of our trade?
Sure.
Then you now come to the students. Yes, what you are saying is perfectly true. The thing with we Nigerians is, I'll borrow a line from Portable. Portable will say, permit me to speak broken English. He said that person who don't make them go think say other people lazy.
True.
When God has blessed you, sometimes you feel like other people are not working enough. Thank you. So that's just what JAMB is doing. JAMB is using one metric for all the students, and they forget we are a country that's poverty stricken. You don't have to hide the fact. We have to first recognize that this is what we have. We are a country that when they want to release the poverty index, the thing is that this is the number of percentage of children that are below the poverty line. And now we are telling these students that okay, they should rewrite this exam. They should write it yearly. Not to brag, but I paid for a particular student. That particular girl I was telling you that they said to sit like this. I paid for her JAMB. And next year, if I'm not there, who will pay for her?
True.
Who will pay for her? And we have many students like that. But then you want to generate revenue. Why can't you make it 2 years? Why can't you make it 3 years? It's the same person that at least I can congratulate JAMB that they have reduced malpractice to a particular extent. But then why can't they now ease the burden of those families? So many people are working and they're writing this JAMB. I know students that are working and writing this JAMB. Yes, I may be teaching in a high school, but I'm living in a low budget area. So I converse with students that I've met many of them. In my church, I do free lessons for students. So I know how some of them go through to register for this JAMB. And now we are telling them next year, you have a system error, and this child will go and register. It's not the person's fault, and the person is paying for this same exam next year. So I think that that's like I said, because they might look at those that I can pay the money, and they'll be like, after all, they are paying it, the money is low. But the money is low. How many people can afford it? How many people can pay it? What about schools in the villages where they have just 3 teachers throughout the whole school? Who is paying for their JAMB fees? So they are going to look at the grassroots.
True.
So I think that's that.
Okay, so hello viewers and listeners, we'll be going on a short break, and when we are back, we would continue. I believe you're enjoying the discussion, because I am also. So see you.
Will you be silent or be heard? This is your call to act. Join the Reform UTME campaign. Help us fix JAMB now. Every voice counts, every day matters. Sign the petition. Join thousands of Nigerians demanding JAMB reform. Let the world hear your story. Let's all gather at the JAMB state offices across 36 states and the FCT to submit our petitions on Thursday, June 26th at 9 a.m. Send your name, phone number and state to csos4educationalreform@gmail.com to coordinate your state. Let's make history together. Share widely.
Welcome back as we continue our discussion with Mr. Chris. So, welcome back, Mr. Chris. So, moving on to the next question. What role do you think teachers, parents, and civil society should play in advocating for a reformed UTME?
Well, I would start by thanking your organization for this wonderful approach you're taking for this reform. It's really nice, because I think we Nigerians we tend to be comfortable with the situation. If not for the bad the bad output of the exam, the statistics of the exam this year, people would not have clamored or joined anything, because it affected both the rich. Actually, I think that was part of it. It affected both the rich, because we have this I don't care attitude to things. So I think when things like this are happening, parents should be able to speak out just the same way they spoke out this time, and parents should clamor that. I think those are things that are in the National Assembly or something. They can actually push this bill. They should push for it that JAMB should be written maybe for each bill should last for like 2 years. You see, one good thing that JAMB does not is that I know they want to raise revenue, but this will actually help them. Some of these CBT centers are overwhelmed But when you make it 2 years, at least the number that is registering will drop. Then you can be able to accommodate those that is coming. You don't need to say, okay, we are writing 3-4 sections in a day. And for these systems, cannot even take that long period of, you understand? But when you have lower number of people, the system will not be overwhelmed and you will not have issues. In that particular time, you can tackle whatever challenges you have. But you are seeing every year the number keeps increasing, and the CBT centers are not increasing proportionately. Some of them are growing, some of them are being banned. So how are we tackling this? So I think those that are close to those in power, people like us may not have that, but the only thing we can do is to speak out, just as we are speaking out now. But those that are close to those in power, the parents, teachers, if you know, let's push for this. We know our local government chairman, he can be able to push for this. We should know our councillors, they should be able to push for this. You have 1 or 2 friends that in the National Assembly, House of Representatives, you know, any of them, as far as building the political post, they can push for this. Let this result at least last for 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years. You know, if we are able to get this, the number of students that are registering every year will reduce a bit, so that JAMB will be able to accommodate them. In accommodating them, the system glitches will reduce. Standards that not meeting up to standards can be scrapped out, and that way there will be great reform in the examination. Because I think that one of the major things affecting this examination also is population. The number is too much. The numbers are just too much, and you see there's going to be spillover to next year because some universities are on strike, so they even say, okay, some will say you are collecting 40% of those that read this year and 40% of those that read next. Before you know it, there's spillover. So I think that's the major thing. Let this result before, not just for 1 year, even for 3 years. Maybe for 3 years. If somebody is not okay with the person should register. If somebody has done a very good job, I don't see why somebody that scored 351 or something, maybe it's underage. The man says you should write it next year. Why can't you use that result next year when he's now in age?
And the issue with this rewriting is sometimes it's very difficult. For majority, actually, it's difficult to actually get that same high score.
Exactly, it's not actually easy.
You're getting 351. You're writing again. You're getting 300.
Only few persons can do that. Only few persons.
Yeah, sure.
I have a student in Ogun State. I think he was the highest scoring student in Ogun State because he had a meeting with the Ogun State governor then that period. He was a government school student. I just taught him 1 or 2 times. Very hard problem because he's my colleague in the school was his father, you understand? He did not get the admission that particular year because I think he put quality result or something like that. He had an issue like that. The next year, he would not score it. He scored 330 something. But not up to what he scored. You understand? The first time. So these are the issues. But for him, he's smart. What about this? They're not as smart as him. And like I said, immediately then, if you're a private school teacher, you will go work. You will work. So you see, it affects them. So we are not. Let's make it sure that everybody is feeling okay. I'm sure even if the money might be small for some people, people will work their sweat together
just to get that money.
You understand? So
72 is not a small money.
It's not a small money. The minimum is like 10% of the minimum wage. That's 10% of the minimum wage. So if we remove tax, remove maybe house rent, other everything, and I think everybody will cough out 10% of that just because of one exam. And next year, if the child did not do well, he's coughing it out again. Even if the child did well and did not get admission, he will cough it out again.
I know there are some parents that just, you're not doing well. You know, parents also have their fault.
Yes.
Your child is under duress, under pressure, and you can't even see it. And then you tell this child, "Oh, next year I'm not paying your JAMB.
You're paying yourself." Exactly. That's
that child has to work for it.
Exactly. So these
challenges.
Well, I think these parents were a bit accommodating because you know when that came out, they were really angry with JAMB. I know my son cannot score the exam. I think that as they read the exam, I saw a particular score. She posted her 2 results. She scored 151 in the first one. And the second one she was scoring 290 something. So you see, okay now just check that particular candidate. You shepherd somebody's dream. Assuming they did not cry out, she would have just said that's how that she's not.
Maybe your parents will have to remind you, oh, did you remember your last time score? But you cannot score this, you can.
So why do you want to have now to now write that exam next year? so that there will not be a system glitch again. Maybe that one will no longer be noticed and she will not score lower again.
And then they'll be like, oh, it's you.
Maybe you started playing, or they will not be like, okay, the student is now promiscuous, that's why the person is no longer reading. Meanwhile, it's JAMB's fault. And if you don't call them out, they won't even acknowledge it.
Actually acknowledge it, true. So any final words for students, fellow educators and policymakers about the future of these our students of university admissions and all? Just your final words.
Yeah, my final words would be on the integrity of the exam. We as Nigerians should be able to also give credit to where credit is. JAMB has tried. JAMB has evolved over the years from paper and pencil to CBT. They have tried. But then policymakers should be able to tell this person that you are an examination body. We don't need to be glorifying you for your revenue generation. Just do the work that you are doing. You know, there is something about start the mission and the means would come. That's what Saint Kabini said. So start this mission. If it comes out like this, it should be like a bonus.
Sure.
Why would an examination body be boasting about the revenue is given out? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to bring out the glory of our students, or do you want the glory to be yours? So I think the major person, the 7 elephants fight, the grasses suffer. All our focus should be on the students. And I think WAEC has also tried on that, because WAEC has a principle. When we go for coordination to mark WAEC says when there is discrepancy, you must always be on the side of the student. So when we don't want to agree, we have to agree on the side of the student. So JAMB should pick the same thing in everything you are doing. Be on the side of the student. You don't have to make the exam too hard just to show that yes, our exam is top notch. You understand? How will somebody score 180 something in JAMB, and the person goes to with UTME and score 80 something? It's not tallying. And it's the same caliber of people that set this JAMB, that set the rate post UTME, and the 2 exams were written CBT. So the final word for them is, it's not universities don't boast about what they generate from post UTME. They don't do that. So JAMB should not focus on revenue generation. They should focus on the students, the impact. This is what someone committed suicide today for their own mistake. That is on them. Not on us, the teachers, not on us. That is on them. So what are they going to do differently next year? What are the policymakers going to do differently this year or next year? What are they going to do? They have time now from now to next year. What are they going to do differently next year, so that we will not have students, God forbid, committing suicide? It's one. If there is a mistake, we don't know. Everybody has a particular way of dealing with grief. You cannot tell somebody how to grieve. So this particular girl, rest her soul, she said this is how she wants to grieve. Well, should we encourage that?
No.
So it means that JAMB has to do something. At least they should give us something different next year. If it's by saying that, okay, this exam is going to be prayers, now something. If it's by saying that, they should just give us something different. If JAMB does not give us something different next year, they're not honoring the memory of that girl. JAMB must do something different next year. Policymakers must do something different next year. We cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So JAMB should do something visible, not something you say, we have upgraded our systems. We know we're always upgrading. Anybody that has system, even when I have a PC at home, I'm always upgrading.
Definitely.
You understand? Everybody upgrading. But do something different. Let everybody sit and say, okay, because of this, that's why they did this. At least they show that the institution is empathetic to the cries of Nigerians. They should lead the way.
Sure. So thank you very much. I was actually going to dive to something, but let me just briefly say something.
Okay.
You know, there was a statement you made where you said JAMB and post UTME again. So my question is, can't a child just write JAMB and not have to go through the stress of that post UTME? Like, why go through the stress of those 2 exams? Those things are like more like similar and all.
Well, like I told you that one thing about Nigeria is when something affects you, you take a different direction. And one thing you have in Nigeria is trust issues. The universities don't trust the universities don't trust JAMB. And JAMB have just proven why they don't trust them. So we saw some. We had one acid blasted JAMB. I think even UNN. I think I saw that they made like they give a circular about that same JAMB result. So now, how do you want to go and tell that university has blasted JAMB? Not to write post UNE. You understand? And I'm telling you, I have a student. This girl, not a student, my friend. She scored 180 something. She's studying medicine now. Do you know proctor? Posterior. So that's why we cannot scrap. I will not advise for them to, because I know how many people it has helped. I know how many people it has helped. So please, let's not even go there for that. So that should be that. It's trust issues. So I think that's on that. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for joining us. We really had a very impactful session, I would say, and I believe that at the end of the day, that is what keeps driving Speak Out Africa initiative, to push for a change, to see that our cries are heard, and we need voices like you, just like you've spoken now. And also, I would make a plea that, okay, your students are there. We have our petitions online. We would want you to actually encourage the students to actually sign this petition so that we push for this change. It's for their benefits. Yes. Even if I'm not the one writing JAMB, I have a child tomorrow who will write JAMB. I have a neighbor tomorrow who will write JAMB. Exactly. So all this change we are pushing for is not just for ourselves. We're actually pushing for this change for the next generation to come, for the next set who will be writing these particular exams. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. Your voice is crucial in the push for a better system. We are very grateful.
Thank
you for honoring our invitation. Thank you, viewers and listeners. That is all for this episode of Speak Out Africa Initiative podcast. Join us next time for more detailed, more exciting, and more informative discussions like this. And don't forget our 30 days activism on the campaign for JAMB reform, #reform JAMB, #fix JAMB now, #reform UTME is currently ongoing. So share the petition, sign the petition, and also if you have one of all these experiences, just a 60 seconds video, tell us your experience, tell us what you faced, tell us your challenges while we push for this change. We alone cannot do this. We need your voice. We need your active involvement in this. Our parents, our teachers, and our policymakers, we're sending our cries to you. So sign the petition and share so that everybody on your platform, everybody that you know, tell someone to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. Thank you very much for joining us. And I remain Sommidah Simon with our guest for today,
Chris Wandering.
Thank you very much and see you next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.